With the advent of the brand split, the opportunity was there to steal the show and potentially increase your stock. Of course, if politics come into your way, there's nothing to do, but as evident as the coming years, many stepped up to the plate and brought themselves success. Eddie Guerrero's contributions to SmackDown in late 2003 brought him the WWE Championship and legend status. Rey Mysterio shined even brighter than he ever did in his career, and Benoit got a lot of the fans behind him to win the title at WrestleMania 20. Edge climbed to the top of the mountain and became the first person to win Money in the Bank. All this success stems from a little era in the 02-04 SmackDown time period aptly entitled the SmackDown 6. With Paul Heyman at the helm of SmackDown in 2002, he realized that there was an opportunity to do something special with the talent at his disposal. At the time, the brand split was still in its early infancy, so a bunch of trades occurred. One of those trades turned out to be a huge gift for SmackDown. Chris Jericho, the man who main evented WrestleMania 18 only 4 months earlier, was on SmackDown. He's enrolled in a program with John Cena and is an ally to the Un-Americans. He gets traded to Raw in favor of Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. Now at the time, the writers, the producers, they were shocked that Heyman even offered Jericho for those two, and in a way, they felt like he was ridiculous for letting go such a huge commodity. Because at the time, Benoit and Guerrero never really went above the mid-card scene and were still perceived as the wrestlers, whereas Jericho was not only there but an entertainer. So the trade was accepted. Benoit and Guerrero joined an elite roster featuring the likes of Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and of course, Kurt Angle. So what was the SmackDown 6 talent's credentials? Chavo Guerrero, respected worker who's captured the Cruiserweight title in the past. Eddie Guerrero, solid mid-carder who's won just about every mid-card title, be it the WCW United States Championship, the European Championship, and of course, the Intercontinental Championship. Rey Mysterio, already one of the most influential high flyers the world of wrestling has ever seen. His blistering pace coupled with his world-class timing made just about every match of his must-watch. Chris Benoit, highly respected worker whose approach to professional wrestling is almost unmatched. With a career and talent like his, all that was missing was a world title run, and no, this doesn't count. Kurt Angle, 4 years into his career, and already he's considered one of the best to ever grace the squared circle. Angle learned the basics in record time and added his flair and charisma to enhance the WWE roster's quality. Angle is only getting started, and then there's Edge, one of the young talents with the most potential. Edge from day one displayed charisma and had this special intangible to him. By 2002, he's done well for himself, having some of the most outstanding matches on a weekly basis and a cabinet full of titles such as the King of the Ring and the Intercontinental Championship. Some of these men interacted with each other in the past. Edge and Angle had a feud recently, Eddie and Rey as well, but the real beginning for me, when the SmackDown 6 officially began, well, I'd say July 25th, 2002. On this night, Rey Mysterio made his long-awaited debut, and instantly this man was sensational. Overnight, this man's already one of the most popular. Of course, WCW fans knew him, but for those that had no idea who he was, they were instantly fans. This was around the time where Stephanie brought Benoit and Eddie to SmackDown after Eric Bischoff was stealing some of her talent. Immediately, these wrestlers were interacting with each other, and one thing to mention is that the commentary called them the future of SmackDown. Rey Mysterio's early success led to Angle being a detractor. To make matters worse, he lost to Rey in a 6-man tag and was beside himself. He's like, oh, I got pinned by a 12-year-old. He complained about Rey being the illegal man and even an illegal citizen, and the man was making short jokes. Rey, meanwhile, was all about proving himself at SummerSlam. Angle thought this was going to be a door tossing, and it turns out Rey's serious and he accepts. I mean, in his eyes, it's a kid. Also, Angle was on this whole Carlton Banks thing, saying some random ass stuff, acting like him entirely. It was hilarious. Now, Rey was well aware of what was in front of him. He also beat him in the past, so the newcomer was confident. Kurt, though, felt he tied that mask on too tight, and in order to make sure Rey knows who he's facing, he should sit on a booster chair to watch him wrestle. Oh man, the roasts are coming in non-stop. Of course, Rey ended up interfering and got Angle counted out. With these two in form, in their prime, fans were going to witness one of the greatest opening matches in SummerSlam history. From the beginning, this thing was incredible and did its job in setting the stage for the night. It was like a game of cat and mouse with Angle constantly going after the ankle and Rey jumping around making his life hard. Eventually, though, he's caught and Angle ends the games, forcing him to tap out. Superb match, insanely fast and leaves you wanting more. Later that night, Eddie Guerrero and Edge had a nice match that proved to be forgettable when looking at this time period. Edge may have won this match, but the feud intensified over the next couple of weeks. Eddie cheated to win in the rematch and added insult to injury. At the same time, his nephew Chavo began teaming with him, but it did not have the best start because Eddie's face was deep in his ass crack. That said, Eddie made good on his pretty face promise and busted Edge up ahead of Unforgiven. At the same time, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit started a feud after Rikishi gave Angle a stink face and Benoit was laughing about it. These two were finding joy in the others to struggle, and hell, they were screwing each other over despite being tag team partners. This of course led to them losing, so Angle gave Benoit an angle slam and screwed up by adding insult to injury. Similar to SummerSlam, Unforgiven was a success on the SmackDown side. Eddie's cheating ways did not prove to be his downfall here, as he managed to pull another tactic to steal it. Later that night, Benoit and Angle engaged in a technical classic. It's the easiest way to describe this match. And Benoit only won it because he cheated, otherwise in kayfabe they would have wrestled for a lot longer. The September 26th episode of SmackDown SmackDown provided one of the most memorable matches to come from this era of SmackDown. Edge and Eddie Guerrero in a no disqualification match. Eddie wants Edge's face rearranged, Edge wants redemption. From the beginning it was intense and neither man was letting out in terms of aggression. Chairs and ladders were used in this affair to settle it because while they faced off again in the future, it was never as intense. The match was so rough that it left a lasting impression on Edge's neck. Some spots in this match could have gone bad in a moment's notice, and when you see something like this, a match so hellacious, violent, and exciting, you're wondering, like, it main evented, right? Well, it didn't because Angle, Benoit, and Ray went out there at the end of the night. Edge emerged victorious by the skin of his teeth and moved on to something special. Eddie too. You know how at a restaurant there's a small dish before the main course comes out? Consider this part of the video to be that, because from here on, it's the main course. On the October 3rd, 2002 episode of SmackDown, Stephanie McMahon made a couple of announcements. One of those announcements was for the new tag team championships. A tournament is going to be held for those titles, and the tournament saw several random tag teams. Brock and Tajiri, John Cena and Billy Kidman, and with the tournament in full swing, Chavo Guerrero and Eddie felt very confident about their chances. They had chemistry and experience unlike just about every other team in this tournament. They also made fun of Benoit for his problems with Stephanie and were also convincing him that Angle's taking a year off, he doesn't want to be his partner, this and that. But egg fell on their face once Angle opened the door. Even then, tempers flared between Angle and Benoit over the whole Guerrero conversation. He wanted to know what's up, and all Benoit did was stare at him. Now, I don't know if John Cena traveled to a future era, but he looked far too strong here. Even then, the Eagles won the match and got into it over the ref raising the other's hand. Brock Lesnar, meanwhile, was about to carry Tajiri to a victory. And it's not like Tajiri needed any carrying, but this is Brock Lesnar. All Tajiri had to do was not get in his way, and because he didn't do that, he lost. The tournament was in the semi-final stage, and Edge and Rey Mysterio punched their ticket to No Mercy with a victory over Devon and Farouk. Los Guerreros, though, were anything but worried about Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. Their semi-final match was excellent, as is the usual. Edge and Rey returned the favor from earlier on and attacked Angle and Benoit as well, and the tweeners had an uphill battle. Not only were their egos a problem, but Los Guerreros had experience and were in sync, unlike them. Of course, this one had so much drama. Angle and Benoit bumping into each other, the ref being knocked down, will he attack his own partner? But in the end, though, Angle and Benoit were on the same page, and so they won. Of course, one of the reasons they're buddy-buddy is because of the threat of being suspended. Stephanie's like, oh, if you attack him, you get suspended. Another is Eddie lying to Benoit over an attack, but of course, the main reason is the fact that they're going to No Mercy. Okay, this one was expectedly outstanding. I mean, it's Rey, Benoit, Edge, and Angle. Anything other than that would be disappointing. But not only was it good, it was great, amazing, iconic Hell match of the year, and that's saying something. The year was filled with so many tremendous matches, yet for the most part, if you ask someone, hey, what's the best match of 2002, they say this, and for good reason. The Hurricanrana spot during the match was so damn iconic, and it all came down to the simple fact that Edge tried beating Angle at his own game, and so he tapped. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, the rivals were tag team champions. One of the best tag team matches of all time. Since Angle and Benoit were the first tag team champions, they were rewarded with a trophy. Angle agreed with Stephanie that he should have set aside his differences with Benoit, and because he did, that's why he single-handedly got the win at No Mercy. He was ready to take that trophy home, but Benoit had something to say. He told him to put his ego aside and said that everyone knows he, Benoit, is the captain. And if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won the title, and if Stephanie didn't put that stipulation in, he would have kicked his ass. Angle said he won the match, making him a star and Benoit the supporting player, and they're bickering over this SCR 2006 trophy, and they ended up knocking down Stephanie. Why? Because, well, there's actually a reason. Because they're crazy. They have big egos. All that. She slapped Angle. Benoit's laughing and she follows up. Stephanie was pissed over this and booked the match between the two so the winner could take the cheap-ass trophy. Of course, the way they were wrestling, it's hard to believe they were partners. And it was a good match, but me saying it is redundant. Los Guerreros once again interfered and cost Angle the match, and a frustrated Angle returned the favor to Benoit and pulled a Bret Hart by destroying the trophy. If I can't have it, nobody can. This wasn't the only match involved in the SmackDown 6. Edge and Rey beat Los Guerreros to earn a title shot, but me mentioning every single match would be a struggle and would probably ruin the pace of this video. That said, the Halloween episode of SmackDown is probably one of the strongest you'll see from this era. Edge and Benoit have a good match. Edge reveals because Angle has too much drama with Benoit and he goes on a hideout because of it. He couldn't stay for too long because he was booked in a match with Eddie Guerrero. That was as expected even with the time, and once again interference from Benoit, who claims his territory is the last man standing. Good. It went from bad to worse for the champions as they had a brawl at the party. Even at the party, they were fairly even on offense, and it all came down to Angle hitting an angle slam while Benoit blasted him with a bottle. Now, November proved to be the month where the SmackDown 6 was winding down. Los Guerreros were annoyed at the fact that Edge and Rey Mysterio received the title shot while Eddie was the one who beat Kurt Angle. Stephanie reminded him of how they lost to Edge and Rey, and she saw how eager Eddie was to face the champions. So she booked them in a match with Brock Lesnar. Edge and Rey, meanwhile, had their title match, and it was going to be 2 out of 3 falls. Edge and Rey were far quicker than the champions, whereas the champions were far more methodical. The good guys had the ability to just kick up the pace, and with the sudden seated senton, they won the first fall. Angle was pissed, they were behind, and it was because of Benoit. So he went to work. Even then, with all the effort that Angle and Benoit were putting in, Edge almost had the match won. So Benoit blasted him with the title, leading to the ankle lock, which gave them the fall. All that teamwork, and they're still fighting. After the commercial break, the champions were properly integrated into the match. Rey Mysterio was struggling to break through, and even when Edge tagged in, his ankle was hurting. This greatly benefited the champions, who singled out Edge and isolated him, which meant he was taking more damage. It also didn't help that Benoit was super aggressive and hungry just to hurt him. Rey finally tags, and it's the final third. He's got the hot tag boost, but Benoit's like, not on my watch. Rey still finds the drive and shows world-class timing to drop Angle and win the match. Oh wait, Angle's hand is on the rope, and SmackDown goes to a commercial with these two complaining. Afterwards, it's revealed that the match had been restarted. The champions were desperate to not let this opportunity go again. Mysterio was taking a beating, but he found something with a DDT. Edge tags in, and he's got the fighter behind him. Angle locks him in the ankle lock, but Edge rolls over, 619 in the spear. 1, 2, Benoit dives onto Angle. Rey makes a save, and Edge goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3, new champions. Awesome. Superb match. Really shines bright as an underrated match in the grand scheme of things, because we usually talk about Angle and Benoit Unforgiven, the No Mercy and Survivor Series matches, but this should be up there with them. It's that damn good, and if you disagree, well, go watch it. Of course, Angle held Benoit responsible, and they bickered over who's the captain, who won the last match. I have more teeth than you, I have more hair, I'm an Olympic gold medalist, and meanwhile, Los Guerreros told the champions that their luck is running out. The Rey and Eddie match is, as expected, quality. Angle and Benoit was just an ass-kicking contest with nobody emerging victorious because of Angle stealing Eddie's move and causing an all-out brawl. He caused all of this, and now he's tapping. But everyone came out of this beaten though. Through all of this, the two egos were up and ready to fight. Things cooled down, and Angle resolved the issue in awkward fashion. Even then, at Survivor Series, problems arose between the two, and Angle knew where this was going to go, so he tried to ease things. Their match with Los Guerreros and the champions was probably the only time these 6 men featured at the same time. Angle and Benoit clicked just in time, and watching this one, it's a shame that they never followed up with a sequel of this match, because for certain it would have been better. Angle and Benoit's issues over trust cost them, and they were eliminated. Los Guerreros and the champions ended up having a quick sprint, which ended after Chavo blasted Rey with the title, leading to the lasso from El Paso and Rey taps. Good match, not on the level of the previous title matches nor No Mercy, but it's still almost better than anything out there. The relationship between Angle and Benoit was still very tense. Neither man gave a damn if the other took a beating, but they still had one more match for the tag team titles. The fans were craving Kurt Angle in the match. Benoit's taking a beating, but he's forced his way out of their corner, and Angle's in. This meant the team was at their best. Benoit's on one side dropping them with Germans, and Angle's doing the same on the other. Angle's signed to Los Guerreros. They have the titles won, but ego once again. These guys, they didn't want to see the other actually win the match and carry the team. They double team Eddie. He's tapping, but Angle knocked down the ref. Chavo connects with his frog's flesh, but it's still not over. Eddie goes up top. Angle catches him, and Chavo blasts Benoit with the title. Eddie goes for the cover to retain the titles. Good. It's obviously centered around Benoit and Angle rather than the champions. You know, the story is mainly about how Angle and Benoit are going to operate, as it was in a bunch of their previous matches, but even more so here. Los Guerreros reign supreme in the tag team division over Edge and Rey, and of course Angle and Benoit. Now, you're thinking, hey, is this over? Well, they went out with a cracked up main event on the December 5th, 2002 episode of SmackDown. Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Edge faced off in a fatal 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender for the title at Armageddon. This was probably the best match involving the SmackDown 6, except maybe No Mercy. Kurt Angle and Edge in the final parts of the match displayed world-class talent. There was some great-ass near falls. Every move felt like the one to end it, but then it came down to the Super Angle Slam, and Kurt Angle was the number 1 contender. So that's the SmackDown 6. Of course, they interacted with each other throughout this era, but it was never as tight as it was here. Every week there would be some sort of combination of the 6 men. That said, Angle and Benoit had that iconic match, the Rumble. Eddie and Chavo continued as Los Guerreros, and it ended at the right time as it didn't overstay its welcome. Each match was good to great to amazing, and the talent was really going all out on a weekly basis. Like, I'm just watching these matches and thinking to myself, how did Angle have the ability to pull out all these matches in a 3-month span? What made the SmackDown 6 so special was Paul Heyman trusting them to just go out there and do whatever. He saw these men and their ability and constructed a program that brought SmackDown higher ratings than Raw. Of course, they're not the only ones. Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, hell, even Tori Wilson were too, but they played a part. Like, when you see that graphic with Edge and somebody like Kurt Angle, you know what you were getting. And Edge himself said this on the Kurt Angle show about a year ago. When we started the idea of the SmackDown tag titles, I knew with those six talents, and I'm sure Paul thought this as well, I can mix and match every week. No matter what mix or match it is, they're going to crush it. whether it's Eddie and Edge one week and Benoit and Ray, or Kurt Angle and Chavo, and then flip them the next week and then flip them again. I mean, there are so many scenarios. You can go with that. To me, that again, so much fun. It obviously couldn't have gone on forever, but I wonder if Heyman would have created a sequel of this if he remained in power after February of 2003. But the SmackDown 6 is always a positive from this era of SmackDown. You know, somebody you mentioned, hey, what's a good thing from this era? This is one of the first things I think of. And it came down to some simple scouting from Paul Heyman to bring these guys together. Alright, that's it for this video. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this wasn't the original video for today. I actually wanted to do WWE 2003, but it was gonna be impossible. I went with this. That said, I'm currently working on it. I'm still writing the script, and we still got to get the stills and all that, so it's going to take a while. Hopefully next week, but I enjoyed making this one. Alright, what do you guys think of the SmackDown 6? Please comment down below, and that's the first video. Make sure you hit the angle slam on the like button, and perhaps the 619 on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.